Welcome to Conversations. I'm Suresh Kochatla. Today I have with me on this show Vishala Reddy, who to describe in a few words would be pretty tough. A lady who has traveled far and wide, furthering global and local agendas across diverse sectors like tourism, hospitality, creative and culture industries, and also the development sectors. Currently, Vishala is the founder of Millet Bank, a social enterprise based out of Hyderabad that strives to revive the nutritional diversity and culture by formulating, branding, and marketing millets and millet-based products. Millet Bank works with farmers, artisans, and micro entrepreneurs to enhance their economic opportunities and empowering their communities. The mission of Millet Bank is to reintroduce millets to 1 million homes and celebrate the rich heritage and diversity of our grains. Welcome to the Conversations, Vishala. Vishala, let me start by asking you about your entrepreneurial journey. Where did it begin? Where are you now? And of course, where are you going? Let's start with your early days in your village, your corporate career then on, and of course, finally, where you are now.
So thank you Suresh Garu for interviewing me. I can say that it is Vishala 2.0 because you have covered extensively on my professional journey once, and it is the millet journey that we are speaking. And I can say that my journey into three parts. So number one is the first 20 years. Being born in the farming community and being a farmer's daughter, I know the entire grassroots level issues and the culture and everything, and actually it's very connected and it's very close to my heart. And I've not even seen a town until I was like 20, and then the next 20 years I have left the village, and then I was in the ultra urban world where I worked for the hospitality industry and business event industry and traveled extensively and learned lot about the world and then how businesses will happen and lot more things. And then I wanted to bring this grassroots level knowledge and also this exposure, urban exposure, the urban rural dynamics into something, and wanted to focus on something meaningful and a long term journey, and that is where the Millet Bank happened. And I happened to go back to the village during COVID, and then I have seen my sister was selling foxtail millet for 15 rupees per kilo, and then I wanted to solve her problem, and her problem I can't solve only like focusing on my sister. So I started involving all our family farmers and also community farmers. So that is where in our agricultural shed we started the journey Millet Bank. But later we registered as a company, Minkan Agro Industries Private Limited, with my partner Priyanka Bharadwaj. So now we are taking this in much more larger way. So our vision has become much bigger and our work has become much bigger, and we are looking forward to make a great impact.
Let's talk about millets, Vishala. From virtually nowhere, millets is now getting talked about. How did this transformation happen? Is it all about this magical grains?
Honestly, millet was a staple food for everybody, and it was everywhere. It is just not particular to some of the areas or states, and almost everybody were eating millets. Like even if you go to Rajasthan and all these places, bajra is their staple food, and Maharashtra and everywhere. But the last 40 years, because of the green revolution, we started giving more importance for rice and wheat, and these grains, which we call it as magical grains, were ignored. And then again, if you see that entire food system, which was built for so many years, almost we say that millet journey is 7,000 plus years, and this entire food system has broken. What we used to have at the village, at the home level, that entire ecosystem was self sufficient and eco friendly. We used to have our own grains, we used to have our own agricultural equipment, we used to have our own storage, and anyway it was not commercialized. It was mostly used for domestic purpose like hand grinding and hand pounding. And then this entire system has broken, this food system, and which led to lot of issues like social, cultural, economic economical and environmental. And that is where that we are seeing the adverse effects of this broken food system. And the government of India, or even the entire globe, or even people who are the key stakeholders, and even people for that matter, common people also are realizing, let it be the nutrition deficiencies, and let it be the growing lifestyle diseases and changes in the weather conditions and climate change, and small and marginal farmers are not getting enough livelihood, so many issues. And then people thought, okay, what should we do it now? And that is how the government started proposing we have to bring back this magical grains, and they are not just for food, they are also good for planet and farmers. So it has a 360 degrees approach, and that is how the International Year of Millets has come into the place, and National Year of Millets has come into the place, and government started taking key interest, and that is how we were able to bring back this momentum again. And for the last 2-3 years it has been very active, but 1 year, 2 years of International Year of Millets will not be enough. We need to have at least, because 40 years we ignored, and next at least we have to have next 20 years of roadmap to make it a stable and sustainable effort.
Vishala, that's a wonderful answer. Let's now speak about women in agriculture. 85% of women are said to be involved in agriculture, but only 13% own the land. How can I encourage more women in rural areas to take up cultivation of value-added crops? You also talked about celebrating women in farming with the concept daughters of the soil. What was it all about?
So, Suresh Garu, if you see that entire agriculture, in fact even for the food processing sector, women play a major role. Even in the traditional food systems, and especially in millets, women are the key players, right from seed saving to the food control. The entire value chain, they play a very key role. And what is happening now is that the women are burdened a lot in the rural areas, because if you see the urban scenario, that you have the entire ecosystem, you have the support, and you have access to technology and mixies and grinders and this kind of a thing. And then at office also, we have the entire transportation network and all. But if you see in the villages, earlier there were these combined families who used to share the burden. A woman farmer or a agriculture worker, she not only has to focus on the farm work, but also she has to attend to lot of other responsibilities. She has to take care of the children, they have to take care of these elderly, they have to attend festivals and weddings, and again a lot of domestic responsibilities. So that is what the problem they are facing, but where they are also not compromising, they are doing a great contribution. So that campaign Daughters of Soil was to bring out the kind of effort they are putting in, and then celebrate their contribution to this, not only to the people, to the health and to the soil. And we ran this campaign, and we were featured, we featured some of these women's stories, and it came out very well.
Let's come to the next one. A woman farmer's day starts before sunrise and continues after sunset. We all know that. Women's work in agriculture is in addition to her role, as you said, as a wife, daughter-in-law, and also a mother. But women migrating to urban areas along with the men folk, and that is again a big threat to agriculture. By making agriculture profitable, can you actually reverse this migration? By ensuring even technology adoption for
so the migration used to happen only in the men. Men used to move out of villages during the non-farming seasons, and they used to work elsewhere and used to support the family. Nowadays, even women started moving out, and they also everybody is leaving this farming because it is no more sustainable. So we used to bring them to a level playing field. So how do we bring them to level playing field? Is by supporting into the right infrastructure. We have to create the whole ecosystem that they already had earlier. They used to have the support of the families, there was a combined family, and then they used to have the support of a lot of other, the entire food system was there in the place. But now the food system has broken, and they are not getting the support, and they have to focus on lot of other responsibilities also. So we have to create an ecosystem, even the seed, and then machinery, and then storage, and then the marketing opportunities opportunities, marketing connects. For this to happen, a lot of investments has to go into the agri-tech and rural tech. Therefore, it will actually help in the reverse migration. And even in some scenarios, what is happening is that even though, in the case of women whose husbands have gone to, they migrated to cities, it is a huge burden on them. Like, they have to, alone they have to take care of the entire farm operations. So, we have to get more and more investment into agri-tech and rural tech.
True, women are extremely important in agriculture, Vishala. We all know that, and this reversing the migration is an extremely important part of it. My next question to you would be the concept of grain boxes and things like match the grain that have been extensively spoken about by you. How will it help revive and sustain the millet farming specifically?
So, in my journey, in the last 2 years or so, I have spoken in multiple platforms, national platforms and international platforms. I was only stuck on 2 points. Number one, create an integrated infrastructure for millet farmers and a favorable ecosystem. It will actually bring them to a level playing field, and then it will help to revive this millet culture. It should not be a product driven. It should not be like a campaign driven. Today we say eat millet and people eat millets, and tomorrow you bring something else and say that you eat this now, and then this entire effort what we have put in will go back. So, it has to be a grassroots level culture driven movement that we have to build. For that to happen, we used to create this kind of integrated infrastructure which will have the seed bank, which will have its own machinery, and which will have a community center to train these farmers, which will have the market linkage, which will also have the primary and secondary processing units. It has to be a kind of ecosystem on its own at a community level. So, that is one point that I have been talking about, and that is what I called as grain box as a concept, and we want to install these grain boxes in the dryland agricultural regions to support the small and marginal and tribal and women, so that this will actually ease out all their burden. And the millet farming is also very tedious and requires a lot of physical labor. So, this kind of infrastructures will support their efforts and will make them produce quality grains. So, that is the grain box concept. And the second point I was talking about is the consumer awareness. And if you see people who are less than 40 years age group, they are not even aware of millets. You show them the grains, 98% of people, they can't even recognize these grains. We are doing this kind of match the grain sessions and all. So, we used to tell them the benefit of millet. Benefit of millets is not only good for health, it is also good for farmer, it is also good for planet. So, we have to show the 360 degrees approach and reconnect them to the millets. So, these 2 points are very important, and grain box kind of things will ease out and actually make them produce more and more grains, because now farmers are not willing to grow millets because of the various issues in the ground.
We all know, Vishala, that paddy is still a favorite crop to grow because of many things, including the minimum support price. They get free power for water and other things that they can consume. But do you think there's a lack of interest in growing millets because there seems to be no support system for it? If that's true, why so?
So, one is that climate, weather conditions also, that is one of the problem. Market linkages is one of the problem, and seed availability is one of the problem, and fragmented supply chain. And there is no guarantee that you grow millets and people will buy millets. There is no buyback guarantee, and even people can't promise them that I will buy, because there is a fluctuation in the market demand also. It's not very consistent. It's going up when we are doing campaigns and then coming down when we are not focusing. So, it needs a whole of ecosystem kind of an approach, and wherein everything has to work together. So, that is the reason that we want to create this kind of an ecosystem.
Thank you, Vishala, for this part 1 of this show, and we will have part 2 coming up soon. Do look for us on part 2. Till then, keep watching. Jai Hind.